Call this regular council meeting of October 24th, 2017 to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Cavode?
Here.
Ms. Walther?
Here.
Mr. Dries?
Here.
Ms. Hermes?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Councilmember Dries.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to serve in this community, each and every citizen, whether it be public service, whether it be community groups, gardening, caring for neighbors. We thank you for the opportunity to serve. We ask that you bless our community, watch over us, and protect us. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the minutes of the regular council meeting of September 26, 2017. We have any corrections to the minutes?
Yes, please. On the last page under new business, I wanted to note that I read the ordinance in full, not, it says Ms. Halter, so it's either, I'm not sure. Please change it to Ms. Hermes.
Noted.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no more, minutes are approved. All right,
Mayor Moore, I would like to add a motion to add an executive session to discuss pending legislation. I so move. Litigation. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. I would like to add an executive session to discuss pending litigation. I so move.
Second.
All those in favor, or clerk call the roll?
Mr. Cavode?
Aye.
You can do all in favor to add it to the agenda.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries.
I would like to adjourn into executive session to discuss pending litigation. I so move. Immediately.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Now I call the roll.
Clerk call the roll?
Mr. Cavode?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
And we'll go to the caucus room to come out of executive session.
Second.
Clerk call the roll?
Mr. Cavode?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
We're out of executive session. This is the time for residents to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, then state your comments or questions. This is not intended to be a dialogue with council or village staff. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Hi, Doug Kohler, 53 Ilona. This year, the 2017 Greenhills Harvest Fest, as the past 4 Harvest Fests, was bigger, better, and even more successful. I want to take this time to thank the many people that were helpful. Maria Walter, Chair of the Recreation Committee, for her continuing support and determination to make this a wonderful event. Yvonne Kovac and her staff for the many, many hours that they put in to make it such a success. Mike, who not everybody knows, our maintenance foreman and his crew, they do all the heavy lifting. They really do. There's a lot of heavy pieces that come in there. They take care of all that, do it professionally the day before, the day after. They're wonderful help. I also want to thank all the individual volunteers that come out the day before, the day after, 3 days after, 3 days before. I really appreciate you all tremendously, and that has grown every year again. I look forward to next year's even bigger and better 2018 Greenhills Harvest Fest. And I want to thank you all.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, thank you for your performance.
Can hardly wait to get in bed. I'll probably fall out. And Hello, I'm Chris Russo, homeowner in Greenhills and past president of the Greenhills Historical Society. The Greenhills Historical Society is strongly opposed to the destruction of any original sites and structures of historical importance to the people of Greenhills. We have a meeting last night and we were wondering why the village had been so secretive about this project. Who is the builder? If there isn't one, why tear down more historic buildings? Why the hurry? Why were no historical people consulted? DeWitt Court didn't work out, big tear down there. Why will this be any different? That's just empty land now. The units under discussion are the last one-bedroom units. When they're torn down, there will be one one-bedroom unit left in Greenhills. The city said that the buildings had a projected life of 60 years. That's a very strange thing to say to people who live in 75-year-old houses. This is just not true. As anyone or all the voters in Greenhills know, these buildings will last another century or more with care and upkeep. It's been said that lesser quality materials were used to build these buildings. That is also not true. There was one set of government standards for all the material used on the site, and the future chief of police had a story about quality control. Nick Bates, for whom the commons were named, worked first with the government inspecting installation of underground utilities for Greenhills. Nick told about the materials inspector whose job was checking the materials as they were delivered to the project. He would climb up to the top of a load of lumber and pull out a random board. If there were too many knot holes in the board or anything else was wrong with that board, the entire load was refused and sent back. Mark Combs said that in 1978 he took a house framing class taught by a retired union carpenter. As a younger man, this teacher had helped build the Greenhills residences from 1935 to 38. He said that the workmanship in those places was better than anywhere else in Cincinnati during that period. The job building Greenhills was a source of real pride to the men who constructed our village. The Great Depression was at its height when construction began, and they knew there was competition for their jobs, so they did their very best work. They also dreamed of building their own future, and some of them wound up moving to Greenhills. In the late 1950s in Columbus, Ohio, there were plans to bulldoze down a rundown area south of downtown called German Village. The area was filled with drugs and prostitution and lots of vacant houses. A large community of brick ranches was planned. Today we enjoy walking those very streets and peering in the gardens and shopping at the little shops and eating at the different great restaurants in that area. The average two-bedroom home selling price there is $500,000. Preservation has serious economic benefits. The charm lies in the originality of the village, in the old homes so lovingly cared for, the community of people who identify with the village as their home. Like German Village or Charleston, South Carolina, Springfield, Illinois, Glendale, Marymount, 1,000 other places we love. The things that make them special are what has been saved and restored, not new
Your time's up.
Tearing down more
Your
of our
time is
history
up.
is not the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Patty Andwan. I've owned property in the Village of Greenhills Historic District since 1976. I have run for council in 2007, 2009, and 2011. I have no plans of moving from my home, and I have no plans to allow the further gutting of the National Historic Landmark Historic District. Do any of you even know what it is that's on the wall over here? Do any of you even have this much respect for what it means to have an NHL designation? Have any of you ever been to Greenbelt, Maryland, or Greendale, Wisconsin to see what success stories they have been? Have you ever taken the time to look at the two plaques that are on the back wall here from 1987 when Greenhills was recognized as a cornerstone of planning, a national award, another national award, 3 national awards in this room for planning. We put a lot of people in Washington to a lot of trouble to start sorting through a lot of papers to figure out why they should give us the NHL, and by golly, they did. But what have we done here to deserve it? What have any of you done? Let's think about this for a minute. Have you designated a local historic district? Pardon me, hell no. Have you set up a historic preservation commission? Hell no. Do any of you even have one iota of respect for the people who toiled to build this town and have strived to keep it in the condition it is over all these many years? You have let us down by not enforcing building codes, and smirks on your face will not get by, Dave Moore. You have let this place slide into disrepair. And for you to even go to our county and ask them to devalue properties again after you already devalued in 2005 over 100 residences in this town, you took the property, my property value, from $95,000 down to the 30s and flipped it upside down so that it would be ready for a taking. All of these people's lots were then valued at $40,000 so that you could take it by eminent domain. Don't even try to shrug it off. Okay, bygones can be bygones. It's time for you to stop thinking about gutting. And right now, you are in court on 2 different levels with respect to
Time's up, Pat.
First Amendment rights and violation of the public trust.
Thank you, Pat.
Oh, please don't thank me.
Okay, moving on. Reports of village officials, municipal manager.
Are there any other citizens?
Oh, any other citizens? Sorry. Okay. Seeing none. Municipal manager, Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. And I do think I'll start with some comments from some of the things that we did just hear that I think are relevant at this point in time. Just kind of take them in order. We heard about the comments, the 60 years, things, the materials. That's not an original comment of mine. That's actually in our NHL nomination form, and I believe it was quoting the architect from back in the 1930s. I think his last name was Wank. I don't have it in front of me. Those were statements that he made regarding the construction at that period of time. You can look it up.
Why don't you
Regarding-
Shut up.
Regarding the local historic district, Glendale went 20 years with their NHL before they ever set up a local district, so it's not an immediate requirement. Just thought that was interesting. And as far as devaluing property, we're aware that you filed for your property to be, the taxes to be reduced to the Board of Revisions, so.
Because of you selling the property
Right.
next door to me
Anyway.
for $32,000, yes.
So I think
Pat,
it's important that I want.
Stop. If you do this again, I'll have you removed. That fair? Okay.
Okay. Tell you what, let me just go ahead to my regular report and get back to this. Wanted to fill you in on 3 public requests that we received during the 3rd quarter of the year. This would be for July, August, and September. On July 25th, we received one from Patricia Bender to asking for a list of all grants that the village Greenhills had received from 2010 to 2016. She requested salary for the city manager starting in 2009 through 2017 with all benefits, first ed job description. Second one was received on July 31st from Patricia Andwan, requesting submissions to the Hamilton County Auditor to devalue specific village-owned Cromwell Road and Chalmers property. All inspection reports and appraisals conducted on village-owned properties since 2005 to present. All plans for redevelopment of any and all parcels in the Village of Greenhills Historic District since 2005 to present. All documents prepared to change plot descriptions or combine village-owned properties 2005 to 2017. Third request was received from Joel Suggs on September 12th for recreation levy expenses for the Greenhill swimming pool over the past 5 years and pool maintenance expenses for the service department for the past 5 years. Other items I'd like to report on, we had our first public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant Program this evening. I incorrectly on my report to you, I'm sorry, put that the second hearing was tonight. The second hearing is November 14th. That's right before our work session, so I apologize for
At
that.
6:30 also?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So if you can make that change. Wanted to let you know that the UPS golf cart delivery project is now official. It's going to begin on November 1st and run through January 13th. So that should be kind of fun to watch. The Tree Advisory Board has confirmed that April 27th, that is actually Arbor Day. That'll be the day that we celebrate Arbor Day here in Greenhills. So you can mark your calendar for that. The gazebo paver restoration is moving along. They have poured the pad. They'll be replacing the pavers over the next few days, so that should be completed soon. Our ADA restroom and pathway project construction has started. They've poured the footers and they're putting in the framing to pour the foundation. Will happen next. Pool is being winterized. If you see them working down there, Swim Safe is doing all the winterization for the pool, putting the equipment away. Then we did the housing project. We did have the bid opening for the building demolition. Out of 6 bidders that we have, the low bidder was Evans Landscaping, and I attached a copy of the bid tally report to this report so you could see that. Contract's on the agenda for your approval tonight. And I'll end with that. And answer more questions closer to the legislation.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. On the UPS delivery, would that be some kind of a logo or something on the carts, the golf carts, or how would we tell that someone that is, roaming around is the UPS, they have a uniform? Because there have been a lot of them having to do delivering packages that have no logo on the cars or in their person from Amazon.
Right. I will confirm, but I do believe, I remember seeing, they had shown me a picture of the golf cart. It has a UPS logo on it. I would
Okay.
imagine they'd be wearing UPS uniforms, but I can check for sure.
Okay, and second, on the Arbor Day, what was the date that you gave on that?
April 27th.
April 27. When is your tree meeting next, and whether or not you would be able to discuss there what kind of tree would it be wanting to have for the village? I always donate a tree, so.
Right.
And the only specifications that I have is there would be a flowering tree, so it would look nice in the springtime, but.
Right. And I have shared that with the board.
Okay.
We probably won't pick definite location till maybe January,
Okay.
but they are aware of that, so thank you.
Okay, and if I find meanwhile a type of tree, I can submit it
Sure.
as a choice?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and did you get a copy of her?
No, I didn't see that.
No, it was handed.
Oh. Here.
Go ahead and spell it.
No, I only have one,
Okay,
but I'll share with you.
well, thank you.
Try to get them over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to confirm that the golf cart that they're using will be also inspected and meet our requirements as well.
I know that it's going to be certified, but I'll put him in touch with the chief, how's that?
Okay.
Ohio law now addresses that provision, so they may already come pre-certified and licensed.
Okay,
I
thank
think they
you.
are, yeah.
All right, moving on, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a really nice written report for you, like you got last time, and it still looks really good. It just looks good in my briefcase back in my living room. So I can distribute that to you, or we can just, and it's just the typical legislative update that I've been providing. So I apologize, I don't have that to pass out. The only other comment I'll make is in the comments from residents addressing council, there was mention of a lawsuit related to this. I can just report to you that we did appear this morning in front of a judge in Hamilton County Common Pleas Court upon a motion for a temporary restraining order to stop the demolition. That motion was denied. So no restraining order was issued this morning, and the case has been set for a preliminary injunction hearing the morning of November 2nd, and we will proceed accordingly. And that would conclude my report.
Any comments, questions? Hearing none, Acting Clerk of Council, David Lumsden.
Resolutions 2017-26 SNS, 2017-29F, 2017-31 LNR, and 2017-30, did I say 21 or 31? I'm sorry. 27-31 LNR and 2017-32 LNR were posted as required.
Okay. All right, Chief of Police Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to echo what Doug Kohler mentioned earlier. Harvest Fest was a wonderful event. We participated in that. We were assisted greatly by our Citizens Police Academy alumni who staffed our booth. They handed out a lot of brochures, crime prevention brochures, and some Halloween packets. And incidentally, if anyone is listed, stop by our headquarters. If you need a Halloween bag for your youngster, we have those available to give out. We'll throw in a couple glow-in-the-dark bracelets and necklaces as well. We had lots of youngsters that climbed in and out of our cruisers and had an awfully good time. Our Citizens Police Academy alumni again came to our aid during our recent current Citizens Police Academy. We had some scenarios where the current Academy attendees portrayed police officers, and our alumni were role players in different roles, and if we could have passed out Oscars, we would have, because they did such an excellent job as role players. Our Academy will be heading to Butler Tech later on this week to drive police cruisers through some scenarios. They're actually just recreations. They won't actually be driving cruisers, and shooting some simulated firearms to get an understanding of how all that works. I'm pleased to report to you that on October 3rd, we were awarded our latest Ohio Collaborative Board certification from the state of Ohio. I think we're well ahead of the curve of many other departments in the state. And the director wrote to us and said, your certificate shall serve as a reminder of your agency's commitment to law enforcement and the community it serves. So we're very pleased to have received that. We also have made some technological advances. We now are accepting online payments. That seems to be the trend, where people are online many times paying bills rather than coming in person. It's a more convenient way, and we have that up and operational. We're also continuing to work on a crime analysis grant that we're participating in other surrounding police agencies with, including Colerain Township, Forest Park, Mount Healthy, and a number of other agencies, including Springfield Township. It allows us to share collected data on criminals to ensure cooperation and increase the chances for the clearance of crimes. During the month of September, we did investigate 6 accidents. That's up from 4 in September of last year. 4 crimes. That's up from 2 last September, and 219 other incidences. Of a total of 628 citizen contacts, 280 of those were dispatched and received by telephone, as compared to 217 last September, and 348 were self-initiated by our officers. The department provided assistance to the public in 137 instances. We assisted other agencies 31 times. We made 29 criminal arrests and 106 traffic arrests. Thank you, Mayor.
Comments or questions? All right, hearing none. Mayor's report. I have Court receipts for the month of September. The county received a total of $76.50. The state received $2,170.50. And the village received $9,976.03 for a grand total of $12,223.03. That's all I have. Committee reports, Service and Streets, Jeff Caveau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did not have a meeting this month. We tentatively have a November meeting scheduled for Monday, the 20th at 5 o'clock.
Comments, questions? Finance and Audit, Glenn Dries.
I will not be brief tonight. Light Up Greenhills is December 1st, 6 o'clock. So mark that on your calendars. There'll be more community advertising as we get closer. We did have a Finance Committee meeting on October 19th. We addressed several things. We started discussion on the property and casualty insurance renewal. We reviewed the preliminary numbers, and then subsequent to our meeting, whoops, sorry about that. We got final numbers, and I'm pleased to report that the health insurance costs for the village are only going up 2.2%. I'm not sure how that happens, but I really like it. And we will have legislation on that later. We had some discussion about the golf course, pool, spoils fields, and their performance for this year. We have one bond payment left for the non-voted debt, and that'll be due December 1st, and that's $277,000. The garbage revenue and expenses are tracking as budgeted. We reviewed the upcoming supplements and that we'll consider tonight, and the finance director is here, and I asked him if he would walk through those when we do the legislation. We talked about capital expenditure on a going forward basis. One of the things that I've advocated is we look at capital expenditure on a longer period than just 1 year, so we don't kick something down the road for a year and then we end up backing things up. And it took us a little time. We avoided buying police cruisers for a long period of time. Now we finally have a solid fleet, but we don't want to get in that same position. So, for example, police cruisers, if we replace one cruiser every other year, we're on a good rotation. So we want to continue to do that. I want to remind citizens that the renewal of the operating bond levy will be on the November ballot. We strongly urge you to vote for that. It is a renewal. It is not an increase. It provides about $180,000 of revenue to the village for general expenses. And quite frankly, it's just a critical part of our budget. So there's an article in the current Greenhills Journal if you want some more facts or figures. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer those. Whether you see me in person or you email them to me, I'd be happy to answer your questions. I have 3 pieces of legislation for tonight, and that is the end of my report.
Comments or questions? Hearing none. Safety, Melanie Hermes.
The Safety Committee did meet today prior to this meeting. One of the things we discussed were the police updates, which I won't go over again since the chief has done that as well. One of the things we've talked about in previous safety meetings were on-street parking issues. We had both people leaving cars for the extended period of time, so I wanted to walk through the process of what happens if you notice a car has been left and you believe it's been abandoned or has been there for an extended period of time. When you report it to the police, the first thing that happens is they will go out and mark the tire. That is when the time will start, because they have to observe the car in that parking spot or where it's at. So the time starts from that point. Then the police try to contact the owner to get them to voluntarily move the vehicle. After 48 hours, so 24 hours before the 72-hour limit is up, they will put a bright sticker notifying the vehicle that the vehicle will be towed, and then the vehicle is towed after the 72 hours. We also reviewed email from a resident on Ireland about some suggestions with parking. And then we went ahead and talked over, I had labeled it the Andover parking issue because we had talked over it in the past, but it actually is all parking on the west side. We have commented on the past about how there's limited parking over there. Back when the units were built, the anticipation of as many cars just wasn't foreseen. So we've had some residents complain about the parking, and in the past we've changed the designated lines, and we actually have legislation that's on, that was read for the first time last week, and it's going to be discussed today about that. So we had also in committee talked about alternatives for places to park, about how we could create additional places. There was an email from a resident from Ashby that suggested a private lane and parking behind homes, possibly. So the committee has asked the manager to talk with the Hamilton County engineer about what are the legalities and if that's possible, and if it were possible, how that would happen. So that's something that's going to continue to be ongoing. I know it's a struggle over on the west side. We also had, the chief brought about some information about pedestrian crossing flags. Part of that was north side currently has these flags, so we've asked him to follow up with north side to learn more about the program and what the city did to implement that and how it is maintained. The chief mentioned an upcoming possibility of a teen police academy, and he is working with Winton Woods High School or Winton Woods School District and the Forest Park Police Department to get something initiated. That was informational only. The chief also reviewed some of his capital expenses that for a 5-year budget. Again, that was informational only. We then did go into an executive session to talk about some personnel issues. We adjourned, and our next meeting, we typically meet every other month, so our next meeting would be in December. So we will have that on hold to see, to make sure all of the schedules align. And
Any comments or questions?
yeah.
I just have a comment. There was a resident from the village that has a question about the closure behind the American Legion. He goes to and fro in a golf cart and would not be able to either travel by the sidewalk or the street to get there. So he asked if the Traffic and Safety Committee could evaluate the situation.
Okay, I will make a note.
And it's a veteran that attends to the American Legion, so that's one of the reasons why it's causing him some kind of difficulty.
Okay.
Moving on, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The committee met on September 18th. I didn't see that it was, the agenda items were noted. But at that meeting, we discussed a license agreement concerning a new shopping center sign, just the components of that proposed license agreement, as well as a tethering law with the tethering of dogs within the village. There was no action taken on those two items. Our next meeting is November 20th at 4 p.m. Prior to streets and services.
Comments or questions? All right, hearing none. Community Development, Jeff Halter, who's been excused for the day.
We have a meeting scheduled before the next work session at 5:15, which is November 14th.
All right, Recreation Cable TV, Maria Walther.
There has not been a meeting at this time from the cable Waycross itself. I believe it's in December. For recreation, I want to thank all the volunteers. The list is very, very long. I had to sign up people here that have been there as early as 7:45 in the morning and stayed the whole day. I have counted on this list 30, and I'm sure that I saw many more than that that did not sign the list. Counting with the people here from council, I have 6 that come in mind that did not sign any particular volunteering list in any way, shape, or form, and went beyond their duty to serve. I would like to let's start just approaching the chief of police for the amount of time that you stay there, that you help us out with everything that needed help, and also having the car open for the children. That was a big hit. I know that Tony Spaeth is not present, but I want to also thank the fire department, a volunteer corps in there that had the ambulance and had the fire truck, and the EMTs that were present there. That was also a big hit with the children. I want to also, thinking about Mr. Spaeth, for the residents of Greenhills, you always announce to check the batteries of the smoke alarms when we fall back. That's to prevent any kind of mishaps. We have also in the village a couple that had given numerous hours of work, and Mr. and Mrs. Scholar. She had helped for the organization of this Harvest Fest 4 hours during the summertime, including through September. And she was a great part of the organization and took place of the many times that we had meetings during the month of the summer, well, all the way through September with the village manager. In regard to Mr. Collar, I don't know if you are aware, but he gives up a week of vacation in order to devote that whole week to the farmer's market, the cleaning, the blowing off of the leaves numerous times, because the trees are not sometimes minding the situation. So happens again, there he is again. And also our MC to this particular year, David, I really appreciated your help in here. And Waycross, that they stayed from the time it opened till the time it closed. I also want to thank all the pie bakers and all the doggies in the parade. And like again, it made it a most wonderful event. I also want to bring to council the fact that this year, for the first time, had not been used the allotted money for that particular event, but a fraction of it. The actual difference that comes from the coffers of the village is $899.77. And the income that we generated with 30 booths and all the different things that took place and the attendance was 2,308, which is doubled what we have done even the last year. So I really want to commend everybody that worked so hard on this and to make it a success. And my last comment, I want to make sure that everybody knows that it's Veterans Day, falls on a Saturday, and please do come to the Commons. We're going to have at 10:40 the music by the Post Band, American Legion Post Band. At 11 o'clock is going to be greetings by the mayor. There's going to be a prayer from the chaplain of Post 530. There's going to be a speech by the post commander of the Post 530. There's going to be a band, one song done by the Post 530. And 11:11, the Post Honor Guard will be the firing squad and taps. Any questions, you can call the village or you can call the American Legion. And please mark your calendars for that. I know that many times it occurs on a Monday through Friday situation that people are unable to attend. But please give some time to the veterans' thoughts and they. Thank you very much.
Any comments or questions? All right, and thanks for Maria's persistence in pushing this through on Harvest Fest. So she's worked on that really hard.
But really, it was what I intended to be. Whatever time I mentioned, it's like raising up a barn. And by golly, we had 40 people raising up this barn. Like I said, there were people there at 7:45 in the morning and didn't go home until the last one was about to say, hey, it's time to go home. So I really appreciate the help of everybody.
Okay, moving on. And actually, this says new business, but for this ordinance, it should be old business. But ordinance number 2017-07, LNR, second reading. And Mr. Lee has it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance 2017-07 LNR, amending section 351.03 of the Greenhills Codified Ordinance regarding prohibited standing or parking places. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that this section 351.03, prohibited standing or parking places, be amended to read as follows. 351.03, prohibited standing or parking places. A, no person shall stand or park a vehicle except where necessary to avoid conflict with other traffic or to comply with the provisions of this traffic code, or while obeying the directions of a police officer or a traffic control device in any of the following places. 1, on a sidewalk, curb, street, lawn, except a bicycle. 2, in front of a public or private driveway. 3, within an intersection. 4, within 10 feet of a fire hydrant or except as marked by the village. 5, on a crosswalk. 6, within 20 feet of a crosswalk at an intersection or except as marked by the village. 7, within 30 feet and upon the approach to any flashing beacon, stop sign, or traffic control device, or except as marked by the village. Number 8, between a safety zone and the adjacent curb or within 30 feet of points on the curb immediately opposite the end of the safety zone, unless a different length is indicated by a traffic control device. 9, within 50 feet of the nearest rail of a railroad crossing. 10, within 20 feet of a driveway entrance to any fire station and on the side of the street opposite the entrance to any fire station within 75 feet of the entrance when it is properly posted with signs. 11, alongside or opposite any street excavation or obstruction when such standing or parking would obstruct traffic. 12, alongside any vehicle stopped or parked at the edge or curb of a street. 13, upon any bridge or any other elevated structure upon a street or within a street tunnel. 14, at any place where signs prohibit stopping, standing, or parking, or where the curbing or the street is painted yellow, or at any place in excess of the maximum time limit by signs. 15, within 1 foot of another parked vehicle. 16, on a roadway portion of a freeway, expressway, or throughway. 17, in any area that is not paved, parking place, or parking facility, and under no circumstance in a grassy or unpaved area or in a front yard of a lot, except for the expeditious unloading or delivery or pickup and loading of materials and or passengers. B, a person shall be permitted without charge or restriction to stand or park on a sidewalk, a motor vehicle, cycle, or motor scooter that has an engine not larger than 150 cubic centimeters. or a bicycle, provided that the motor-driven cycle, motor scooter, or bicycle does not impede the normal flow of pedestrian traffic. This division does not authorize any person to operate a vehicle in violation of Revised Code 4511.711 or any substantially equivalent municipal ordinance. C, except as otherwise provided in this division, whoever violates a Division A of this section is guilty of a minor misdemeanor if within 1 year of the offense, the offender previously has been convicted or pleaded guilty to one predicate motor vehicle or traffic offense. Whoever violates this section is guilty of a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. If within 1 year of the offense, the offender previously had been convicted of 2 or more predicate motor vehicle or traffic offenses, whoever violates this section is guilty of a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. Section 4, that this ordinance shall be and is effective 30 days from the date of passage by the village council. Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance 2017-7 LNR.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Cavode?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 2017-07LR passes. All right, resolution 2017-33-F, Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers, whereas the 2017 annual appropriations that were adopted December 27, 2016 are to be amended, and whereas appropriations must not exceed total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code 5705.3685. Therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, that Section 1, since certain actions are needed and the monies appropriated so to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2017, the following items of expenditure are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2017. Fund 1000, Lands and Buildings, prior appropriation $283,650, appropriation change $174,470, total revised $458,120. Fund 1000, capital outlay, prior appropriation $208,000, appropriation change $22,905, total revised $230,905. Section 2, that the following transfers of fund be made from previously appropriated monies. General Fund, Fund 1000 to the Golf Course Fund 2908 for a total amount of $3,000. From the General Fund, Fund 1000 to the Non-Voted Debt Service Fund 3901, amount $277,000. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
I second.
And I'm going to ask, since we have the finance director here tonight, I will ask Matt to give us a little color on both Section 1 and Section 2.
Thank you, Mr. Dries. The appropriation change in the Lands and Buildings, that is for the contract that's going to be voted on later. That's just under $160,000. And then also we had unexpected expenditures of about $30,000 for the White House boiler and the pool storage electrical. We had originally had about $25,000 appropriated for sidewalk repairs, but that's been pushed to next year. So that helped cover a portion of that. And with the capital outlay, the restroom and pathway project was supposed to be funded partially from Recreation and the Banquet Hall Fund as well. But the Banquet Hall Fund has had several unbudgeted expenditure or unexpected expenditures that have eaten into the capital budget. for that fund. The expenditures were just under $18,000, and then there's another encumbrance of $5,000. So that's where the 22,905 comes from. And the golf course transfer, $3,000. We had budgeted for $20,000 this year, and this will be a total of 19. So it's $1,000 less at the transfer to the golf course. And as Mr. Dries had noted earlier, the $277,000 transfer is to cover the debt payments for the 2 bonds that we have for our non-voted debt. And that's due December 1st.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Cavoe?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2017-33-F passes. Next, Resolution 2017-34-S&S. Mr. Cavote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 2017-34-S&S. Resolution authorizing the municipal manager to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and/or local transportation improvement funds, and to execute contracts as required. Whereas streets and road repairs are a priority for the Village of Greenhills, and whereas the State Capital Improvement Program and the Local Transportation Improvement Program both provide financial assistance to political subdivisions for capital improvements to public infrastructure. And whereas the Village of Greenhills is planning to make capital improvements to Winton Road, and whereas the infrastructure improved herein above described is considered to be a priority need for the community and is a qualified project under the OPWC programs. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, that Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to file an application for Ohio Public Works funding for 2017 for local transportation improvement program funds and/or state capital improvement program funds. Section 2, the municipal manager is authorized to enter into any agreements as may be necessary and appropriate for obtaining this financial assistance. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I can let council know this would be for Winton Road Improvements Phase 3.
Okay.
And that would complete all the improvements.
It would, yes.
It's a section of the road that's not nice and smooth right now.
Understood.
Okay.
And this is the second go-around on
Correct.
on this.
Yes,
We applied for this last year.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Cavoe?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2017-34-S&S passes. Next, Resolution 2017-35S. Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized Horan Associates to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determined that the proposal submitted by Anthem is the best proposal for the village in terms of quality, service, and adaptability, and reflects a continuation of the current plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purchase of providing health insurance for eligible employees for a term January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. Section 2, that the village will continue to offer a dual option plan and will pay the same employer contribution dollar amount for both plans. The dollar amount is based on 80% of the highest priced premium plan. Section 3, that the finance director is authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaling an annual amount of approximately $98,000, said amount fluctuating depending on the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
Again, this was an approximate 2.2% increase.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right.
So great job by our broker as well as our staff.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Cavote?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2017-35-F passes. Resolution 2017-36F. Mr. Dries?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to execute an agreement with Evans Landscaping, Inc. for the Greenhills demolition remediation project, whereas following a competitive bid process, 6 contractors submitted bids for said project, and the lowest and best bid being submitted by Evans Landscaping Incorporated, and whereas the Village of Greenhills desires to enter into a contract with Evans Landscaping for demolition remediation services, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute the attached agreement with Evans Landscaping, Inc. Section 2, that the finance director is authorized to make payments to Evans Landscaping, Inc. in the amount of $159,470. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Forbes, do I need to read the contract, or as long as it's attached?
It's attached.
Oh, yeah.
Do I, so I don't?
You do not need to.
Okay,
no.
okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of Resolution 2017-36F.
Seconded.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All right, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Cavote?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Nay.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2017-36-F passes. Next item on the agenda is the calendar.
Halloween. Trick or treating is next Tuesday from 6 to 8.
Anything else?
Laws and rules, November 20th at 4 p.m.
Streets and Services, November 20th at 5 p.m.
We'll light up Green Hills December 1st, 6 o'clock.
Veterans Day, November 11th, and Ms. Kovac, if there's any way that we can put a small ad in the newspaper announcing the light up of Green Hills, like the remaining events for
We've
Green
got,
Hills,
yeah, that's part of the work plan.
and
Yeah.
the American Legion as well for the Veterans Day.
Yeah, I was probably gonna put that like in my report.
Okay.
To them, but we are doing an ad for Light Up.
Okay.
Community Development, November 14th at 5:15. Then the second hearing for the CDBG at 6:30 on November 14th. And more information about when the turkey raffle is going to be, check the website.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be in November.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Okay, call this council meeting adjourned.